Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Jeremy Thom, founder of Committed to Fitness, a personal training and coaching business specializing in one-on-one health transformations focused on personal training, nutrition, mindset, and movement. With over 20 years in the industry, since 2002, Jeremy has built a reputation on results-driven, highly personalized coaching that brings together fitness, life coaching, and accountability systems. Jeremy, welcome to Founders Future.
Wow, thank you so much for having me. And that was pretty awesome to hear that. You do that so well.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm very excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning, and we might be going a little while back, but take me back to before you started Committed to Fitness. What were you doing before? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
Mm, Great question. I've pretty much what it all first started for me was back in 2002, 2003. That's when I got my personal training qualification. In that, that's when I basically realized that first of all, I wanted to do something in the fitness industry. At that stage, I didn't quite know. So I was working in gyms as most, aspiring personal trainers should, get all the experience that you could possibly need. But there was one gym in particular that was very focused on doing a certain style, certain way that I didn't quite agree with. But what really bothered me about that one was that if they didn't rock up with the right gear or the shoes or didn't have a towel, they weren't allowed to train. And so there was lots of times where we weren't able to help them. And so I then started thinking to myself, look, I always wanted to do something myself. I want to do something a little bit different. But I thought the best thing I could do was do a survey. And this was 2004. So there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't anything like that I could just simply reach out through social media. So I did the old-fashioned way. I reached out in person. And so I just started reaching out to, would have been at least a couple of hundred people, I would say, and just asked them the simple question of, are you currently exercising, yes or no? I really wanted to target on the people that said no and find out why. And the big reason was time. They didn't have the time for exercise. But another popular reason was they actually found the gym, not a nice experience for them. And so I started thinking, well, why do we have to train in a gym? And I guess that's kind of how it all started.
Okay, very cool. Well, walk me through where, because the majority of people think, okay, if I'm going to go do some training, I need to go to the gym. Right now,
Mhm.
COVID kind of changed that paradigm. I guess now in 2025, it's a different time. But back
Mm.
then, that was very much the paradigm that a lot of people were living under. So did you have like trouble converting people into that? What was your mindset around that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that again. Yeah, back in 2005, when we first started, we did mobile personal training, and that was very much unheard of in 2005. A lot of people felt, what's the word I'm kind of thinking of? They felt kind of like, apprehensive, I suppose, about someone coming into their home and training them. So we had to find a way of getting around that issue. We had to do a lot of freebies, a lot of benefits, showing the benefits of having that. So that's how we started with purely just mobile personal training, and then from there we eventually started evolving. We went through, we added nutrition. I went back to study and did my Bachelor of Health, and that's how we then started adding nutrition benefits to the company. And then after that, we added health coaching, and that's kind of when I did my life coaching degree. I think it was about 2015, 2016, something like that. And then from there, we just kept evolving. And so we eventually did a fitness app. We then, as you mentioned before, about COVID came, and that kind of forced our hand, but in a good way. We always had in the back of our mind that eventually we did want to switch to fully online, and so we did that in 2020, and that's basically how it constantly kept evolving from the time that we've started to the time that's now.
I'm curious, what inspired you to get your life coaching degree specifically?
I guess the one thing that always bothered me, and I'm always trying to find different ways to help my clients, and I kind of thought there's definitely a deep layer as to why they would cancel or why they wouldn't, why they wouldn't put in the effort that I normally would see in their routines, and I always thought, okay, there's something that's going on, and obviously initially when I first started, I kind of just brushed it off and thought, oh, you just, you know, but then eventually I started going, well, there's definitely something that's deeper, and so
Mm.
therefore I wanted to kind of just explore that, and the life coaching was something that I really wanted to help them from a mindset point of view, and that was such an awesome course. So I think anyone that wants to, even if they don't want to be a life or a health coach, I think you should.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be able to understand how it works with the mind, not just the body.
Yeah, I love that so much. I remember, yeah, I love that so much. I remember reading Awaken the Giant Within when I was in like grade 9 or grade 10, something, and it changed my life. But
Mm,
what's interesting, I've talked to hundreds of coaches at this point. I either talk to life coaches or I talk to health coaches. In terms, obviously, there's different types, but it's either one or the other. It's very
mm,
unique that you did both. So walk me through that to give the listeners a little bit more context. When you are working with your clients, is it a
mm.
blended, holistic approach? How do you kind of look at the different offers and ways that you can serve your clients?
Yeah, we do offer basically, like you mentioned, a blended approach. We're not just about the exercise, we're not just about the diet. We're not just about the life coaching or health coaching, as I focus on. It's that whole holistic approach. We our four main pillars is your personal training, is slash exercise, is your nutrition, is your coaching, and your movement. And that's something that a lot of people forget to do as well. So we're encouraging them and helping them with that too. We now live in a world where we're stuck behind a desk. A lot of us, we don't move around naturally as much as we used to. So having that, I suppose now we have to plan our movement now these days. When I remember going back to when I was a kid, I would always be outside running around, going crazy. And now I've got kids myself, and I'm trying to get them out of the house rather than because they want to be inside all the time. So naturally, we've tended as a nation to move less in that sort of natural form. So now we need to plan. And so that's kind of what I do is I basically structure everything for them in terms of the programs that they need to do to be successful, in terms of the movement patterns that they should be aiming for, and obviously with their nutrition. And then obviously when we're able to train together, we have a bit of fun, but at the same time, obviously with a true purpose.
I love that.
Mm. Mm.
Who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with?
I love to work with people that are over the age of 40. The reason for that is, well, one, I am over the age of 40. But secondly, what I've found that as you start to get older, you need to train differently. There's no long, you can't just jump around, there's like YouTube videos where people are jumping around, going crazy. But, I generally found that with the 40-year-olds and plus, that they do need to have a customized approach about it. They do need to have that sort of one-on-one attention because everyone is different. That's what's great about my clients is that I found that every client, it's a different story, it's a different pathway. And so I've been able to grow with them and see them blossom to where they are today. So they might have an injury, they might have they just want to, do this for their children and become a leader. They start to think about the future. They start to think, well, what am I like in my retirement years? Do I want to be the kind of person that, is visiting the hospital every week, tube up the nose, probably not. You want to be the kind of person that's enjoying retirement, traveling and exploring, doing that hike that you never did because you're stuck at work. So that's sort of clients that I love working with.
I love that. That resonates with me so much because lately I've been doing a lot of research on not just extending your lifespan, but extending your health span. So
Mm.
how can we remain young until, our dying days, ideally, so that we can move, we can do things with our kids, with our grandkids. Um, I love that approach. One thing I am very curious about for you, since you work with people all over the world, right?
Hmm.
How do you acquire your customers? Because I have a lot of coaches and consultants that listen to this, and lead generation is always an important aspect of the business. So if you're working with people in Japan, you're working with people in the UK, all over the world, how do you actually attract these clients?
Yeah, great question. Through different platforms. I mean, definitely, you still need to do your lead generation and that. But for genuine quality leads, I've been doing lots of business networking. I've been doing lots of collaboration with other businesses, and that is what's got me to the point where I'm able to reach out to quality leads. Being able to tell my story, being able to put that on a platform that people will be a part of, other business owners. I'm actually talking to the people that I really want to work with and potentially train, and then a lot of them do come on board, which is really exciting. So it did start a little bit slow, but then after I started getting a few clients and they were in the same room as that entire group where I was doing my networking with, it started to grow a lot quicker from there.
Give me some practical, tactical. Like, is it online business networking? Are we on LinkedIn? Are you doing what does that specifically look like?
Yeah, it's online. So the business networking that I do is all done online. I'm able to reach the Europe market. I'm able to reach the American market. I'm able to, well, providing of course I can get up early enough to do it. It's pretty early, the American market, but the Australian market as well. It's all done through business networking, different ones. So I'm with three. So I do all those, and then I try to always have my own quotas. I always try to arrange those one-to-ones with those businesses. I try to help them as well, of course, because it's that sort of, when it comes to networking, it's very important that you have a very open mind, that you are willing to genuinely want to help them succeed in their business too, and they in turn start to help you as well. And when you start to help each other, that things do grow. Business networking, a lot of people say it's dead. I completely disagree with that. It definitely does work. It's something that's really helped me grow. And then yeah, through LinkedIn is just another pathway from that. I've started to dab around with that a little bit more lately. I've started to realize that so many other businesses are on LinkedIn, so that's something definitely to be on. But again, that's something that you'd want to do, on the odd occasion. I don't think you should be just throwing your name out there through LinkedIn all the time and just start spamming people. I think it's more importantly about connecting those genuine leads, and that's done through networking.
Okay, very cool. And
Mm.
then, so if LinkedIn is a new part, what have you been, what's like your main bread and butter? So business networking online, but I'm trying to conceptualize and wrap my head around like what that actually looks like. Like if you're DMing people, are you calling people, emailing? Can you dive a
Okay.
little deeper into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So business networking, everyone has their own different styles. Most of them do it once a month. So every month we would jump on Zoom. So we would have, just like we are now, we'd have numerous business owners. They
Okay,
would talk.
sir, sorry to cut you off. You're actually joining networking communities that business owners are a part of.
Yes.
I was,
Sorry, I didn't explain that properly.
that's all good.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm doing is, and it starts to grow from there. And as I said before, I then after those meetings, I will then try, connect one on one with at least three of them. I have my little quota of like my KPIs. I'm like I'm going to get three one-to-ones from those groups, and just I constantly keep doing that. And there is another group that does every week. Unable to get to them as often because it is weekly, but I do the same thing there. So that's what I recommend a lot of people do.
Okay. Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
Thank you for breaking that down.
That's
Um,
okay.
when you think about scale, because obviously you're working one-on-one with your clients, I'm sure there's a cap to your time, obviously, right? And then of the business development on top of that. So when you think about the future and the vision and where you want to take the company, where do you see it evolving into? What are some targets? What are some aims? Pay me that picture.
Okay. Um, the In terms of the future, my vision is to continue to keep growing in the Australian market. I mean, I've got quite a number of goals. I would say probably in the next 1 to 2 years, um, I would be wanting to pretty much double. And I think everyone has that, which is important. I think everyone should be having short and long term goals. So over the next 1 to 2 months, I truly believe that we're going to continue to grow. The health and fitness industry is not going to die. There's always going to be a need for it, and it's important that we always remember that. But yes, in terms of my targets, I want to essentially double of what I have at the moment. I know that's going to be challenging, but that's something that I certainly want to aim for.
What do you feel like you need to put in place to make that happen?
I need to put in better systems, admittedly. I think that's something that I am working on at the moment. I've actually working with a great person at the moment individually. She's been amazing. She's been helping me with the correct wordings on my lead generations, and obviously being able to put on reliable content, and leading into certain parts of the market that I want to be in.
Mm. Do
Mm.
you ever see yourself having a sales team, maybe having a team of coaches underneath you? What's your
Uh,
thoughts?
yeah, I do want to do that. It's that's another scary thing. Every time I evolve, which I love doing because I think every business owner should try to look forward. And yes, there's going to be times where it's a little bit scary, and there's times where it's going to be, it's going to be exciting, and it might be a bit of both. But generally, I find with this one in particular, it's challenging to me because I don't want to lose the connection that I've got at the moment with all the clients I've been doing. The way that I've been running it essentially has been that I would speak with every single client of ours. And it's going to get to obviously to a point if I'm going to double, if I'm going to bring in a new coach, then there's going to be times where obviously that person's going to be doing it, and that's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking for me. But that's something that's something that I'm looking forward to at the same time. But yes, that's going to be scary. But that would be awesome to be able to get to that point where I'm able to help someone else, with them that possibly has been struggling as a coach themselves, and really wants to grow themselves, and being able to say, hey, come on board with me. Let me teach you what I know. Let me pass on my 20 plus years of experience onto you, and let's grow together. That's I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah, I love that,
Mm.
especially if you can, handle the lead generation and the sales for them. Basically, here's the clients, take care of the clients, make sure they're taken care of. I'm curious your thoughts on this because I know a lot of people do this in the fitness coaching industry. They do
Mm.
group coaching. So I find that as offers get bigger, they tend to go that route instead of the one-on-one route. What are your thoughts on one-on-one versus group coaching?
Yeah, I have tried both. Now, I did try both for a while. I still dab in the group environment a little bit, but I found that one-on-one, you're going to get a lot more attention, and the reason for that is because it's completely personalized to the individual. So when I'm building the programs, I'm thinking of them, I'm thinking of their family, I'm thinking of what their hopes and dreams are moving forward, and I'm able to put my effort into that with my program writing. But if I'm in a group environment, I would feel I would lose that edge about it. So I found that group, there was lots of comes and goes. They wouldn't have that connection. They would try, we would have a Facebook community, and some would post, some wouldn't, and
Yeah.
eventually no one posts. So it's kind of one of those things where it's a little bit of a hit and miss when it comes to group, in my opinion. It doesn't meet the core that I stand for. My belief is that, if you really want to succeed in your health, you need to have that sort of customized, holistic approach. And the only way to do that is through one-on-one. And what's great about that is that I'm able to, speak with, like I'm talking to you right now, one-on-one. We're able to have a genuine conversation, where in group you've got to mute. So it's a lot different. And a lot of people, get a little bit nervous in a group environment. They're not willing to speak. So that's where I felt that the group didn't seem to succeed there. Um, yeah, so that's basically how I feel when it comes to that. I feel like one-on-one is great, and also when we do our live PT, again, being able to switch cameras, be able to see the full version of me, being able to train them from wherever they are in the world, and have a general conversation like we are right now, has been awesome. And I'm also once again able to 100% focus purely on them.
Yeah. I love that. I completely agree. I think obviously there's pros and cons to both, but I think from a retention perspective, a customer results and success perspective, one-on-one by far is the best approach. I should have asked you this before. Do you have a hard stop at the 30-minute mark?
A hard stop? No, I don't
Okay.
actually. I
Okay,
wasn't sure how long this one was for,
fair
but
enough.
fortunately, I don't have anyone for about another hour, so I'm actually
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm curious, now in the world of AI and in 2025 recently, what's one tool or resource that has been a game changer for you in your business?
I would definitely say the turning point for my system, especially from a client retention point of view, was certainly a fitness app. Now, that was definitely something that I was really passionate about. Going back before that, I was actually getting really frustrated with myself, that I wasn't able to help the people that could only afford training once a week. They would obviously have that great training session, a week would pass, there'll be no connection. And then you train them again. And a lot can happen in a week with the mind, as I've now learned, and being able to work, try to figure out what's going on, how can I make this person succeed, and again they would do well, nothing would happen for a week, and eventually you get to a point where you feel like you're a hamster in a wheel, you're not going anywhere, and then it got to a point where obviously one of us gets frustrated, usually the client, and then they would move on. And so that became very refreshing for me. And I thought, there must be a way where I can connect with them without having to always be with them. And that's kind of where the fitness app idea came through. And like now most businesses have fitness apps or some sort of app. But back then it was still quite rare. And I was like, I need to get an app. So I spoke with a company, and started getting the fitness app going, and then slowly but surely I was able to kind of keep tweaking it and making it the way that I wanted to. Kept saying to them, well, can we do this? Can we do that? Can I do videos? Can I do these? And then eventually got to the point where we're able to systemize everything a lot easier for people, so then they can now simply just press start workout, follow along, and it seamlessly flows from start to finish. So it's the closest thing that we have without us having to actually train them. And that to us was a real game changer.
That's awesome. Is
Mm.
is that difficult to develop?
Not anymore. Like it back then it was absolutely.
Yeah.
It took 18 months. It's really before we could even launch it. There was so many problems. It was crazy. We would try at numerous times to say, yeah, get on the app, and then something would happen. Either it would not open at all, or it would. So I remember those days, and yeah, and the clients would just be like, I'm not going to bother with the app, and then just throw it aside. So we had to pull back and not encourage people to use it yet, until we knew for sure after numerous amounts of testing. And then eventually, it started coming really, really good, and now obviously it's just getting better and better as technology continues to keep improving. Then we're finding that we're able to offer more and more to our clients.
That's awesome, man. I love
Mm.
that. What's the best piece of advice you've received around scaling your company?
Hmm. I suppose the best piece of advice would be that you should be talking with other businesses. Find out what drives them, what helps them succeed, what helps them grow. Any flaws that any mistakes that they've made, and I can assure you, I've made quite a few myself, and that's basically what I would say has really helped me scale and always thinking ahead. I don't think you should ever rest on your laurels and just be content with what you've got. I think, yes, celebrate the fact that you've done so much, but also be willing to move forward and see what else is out there. Like we're in such a ever evolving change of society now these days. Probably in the last 5 years, I would say the rapid amount of technology, obviously with the introduction of AI, has just gone astronomically crazy. And so you really have to move forward. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck behind.
100%.
Mm.
Speaking of AI, is there anything that you're really excited about right now that you're integrating in your business or that you see changing the fitness coaching sphere? What do you think of that?
Yeah, there is actually one exciting idea that I thought about a while ago and still in early days. But at the moment, the way that my clients food log is that they take a photo of the food, which is great. They need to also log and tell me what they're currently eating. What we're in the process of actually doing is using AI to do that. So the client then will just need to take a photo of the meal in front of them, and the AI is going to start picking up exactly what's on the plate. It's going to get to the point where, well, again, we're hoping this, that it's going to, specify exactly the grams of rice that's on that plate or the amount of chicken on that plate. So we're really excited when that finally does come through. And again, that's going to help the clients become healthier because they're going to know exactly what's on the plate. They know exactly how much protein they're having, all their macros, everything's going to be listed. So we're looking forward to that day.
That is crazy. That
Mm,
is, oh my God, the technology.
yeah.
Just a picture that blows my mind of because I've tried that with ChatGPT, but it's still off. It's not perfect, but the fact that it will one day get to a point where it knows my calories, my macros, my grams, all those things just from a picture is insane.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
that's what I'm hoping for.
yeah,
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 that's it.
for sure. Let's say you're talking to an individual who is just getting started in the fitness coaching space in 2025.
Mm.
Based off of your 2 decades of experience, what are some pieces of wisdom that you will share to help them really get their business off the ground and get started on the right foot?
Okay. The first thing that they need to work out for themselves is, do they have a unique selling point? That's very, very important. You need to have something that is different from the rest out there. And so that's super important to figure out as quickly as possible because that's what's going to, get you the clients that you truly want. Um, as I said before numerous times, you got to be looking to evolve. Um, and then I would ask them in all honesty, look, are you genuinely passionate about this? And because it's going to be the passion that's going to get you through all those ebbs and flows. And I guarantee you that you're going to go through a lot more ebbs than flows, especially at the beginning. Like first 5 years was definitely one of the hardest. I mean, it wasn't the hardest for me. Actually had a couple of years where I had to actually stop the business because I was in a car accident, but that's another story. But that's for me, I would say for the people that are starting, is that, yeah, make sure that you're fully passionate about what your chosen field is. And then finally, I would say find yourself a mentor, someone that's been through everything already. actually, there is one other thing I would also say to the person. It would be to make sure you find your balance as well. Don't just throw yourself completely in and start working 24/7 on it. You want to remember always to yourself that we work to live. We don't live to work. That's important. You want to be able to spend still quality time with your family. You have some friends. Definitely that's something that, funny enough, a lot of my clients. I also encourage them to do, like have a coffee with a friend, because again, that's going to help you with your health and your mental health in particular. And just being able to have time for yourself as well. That's important as well.
Awesome.
Mm.
What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Best way would be to get on our website. That's committed to fitness. That's the number two, fitness.com.au. Our website would be the best place on there. We also do have our Facebook as well as our Instagram, where we are always posting new content. If people want to learn more about us, then that would definitely be the two platforms to be on.
Awesome.
Mm.
Any final words for entrepreneurs and founders before we wrap up?
Pretty much, just always for all entrepreneurs, just don't give up. Like if you're really truly passionate about what you're currently in, keep going. Like don't stop. Don't think that AI is going to take over. A lot of people are worried about AI. I think we should be embracing technology and always continue to move forward, because there always will be human connection that people will want. So there always will be a place for us.
Awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to committed to the number two fitness.com.au. That's committed to fitness.com.au. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.